Have you ever felt like you're running in circles, giving everything you have, and yet nothing moves forward? Like every morning starts with hope and ends with the same frustration staring back at you. That hollow feeling in your chest. The one that whispers that maybe you're not enough, that maybe you'll never get there. Yeah, I know it. You've been chasing momentum, waiting for motivation to hit like a lightning bolt, hoping inspiration will come and suddenly make everything easier. But it never does. It never comes the way you want it to. And the truth is, it doesn't need to. Right now, you're searching for some shortcut, some magic that will make your life line up perfectly. You scroll, you watch, you think, if only I had more energy, more clarity, more luck. But here's the hard truth nobody tells you. The moment you wait for feeling ready is the moment you stall forever. Nothing will move until you decide to move, even if your heart is screaming no, even if your heart is screaming no, even if your mind is filled with doubt. That resistance you feel, that weight on your chest, it's the sign that you're about to break through. Not because it's easy, not because it's supposed to feel good, but because you're willing to force yourself to act anyway. Consistency isn't a feeling. It isn't a spark of excitement that comes and goes. It's a quiet decision you make over and over again, even when it hurts, even when it feels pointless. One small action repeated daily isn't glamorous. No one applauds it. Nobody sees it. You might write one page today when it feels like the words are refusing to come. You might show up to train your body when every fiber of you wants to stay in bed. You might make that call, send that email, take that step no one else notices. And each time you do, invisible threads are weaving a life that will eventually show itself in ways so undeniable that you look back and realize all the struggle was worth it. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's learning to trust the process when the results are invisible. When you push through the discomfort, the silence, the monotony, you're laying the foundation for a future that cannot be rushed. Every day you resist quitting, every moment you fight against giving up, you're building momentum. It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but then it begins to snowball. Steps stack, effort multiplies. Actions you didn't even notice start creating results you can't ignore. And here's the paradox, the very thing that feels like punishment, that drains you and tests you, is the thing that shapes you. The early mornings, the late nights, the repeated efforts that feel wasted, they aren't wasted at all. They are the quiet victories nobody sees. The progress that slips past the eyes of the world but doesn't escape yours. You don't need recognition. You don't need a course. The reward is far deeper than that. It's knowing, without a shred of doubt, that you can endure, that you can persist, that you can transform. That's the power of forcing yourself to be consistent. This is the point most people miss. Waiting for life to align perfectly is a trap. Waiting for perfect conditions, the perfect mood, the perfect sign. It will never come. You already have everything you need. Your only job is to act again and again without hesitation. To show up when it's hard, to take the step no one else takes, to show up when it's hard, to take the step no one else takes, to trust that what you're doing quietly matters more than anything you can see in the moment. And if you keep showing up, the world has no choice but to bend to your persistence. So take a breath, feel that tension in your chest, that impatience, that restless energy. It isn't a weakness, it's proof that you care, that you're alive, that you're ready to do what others won't. Force yourself, push past the resistance, do the work that feels invisible, and in time you'll realize that all the small, quiet, stubborn acts of consistency were building a life that lines up perfectly, without fanfare, without rush, quietly, powerfully, undeniably. Your life isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to act. And when you do, everything will finally fall into place. The moment you decide to act is the moment the world stops controlling you. Every excuse you've used, every fear you have hidden behind, loses its power the second you step forward. You think the hardest part is starting, but it isn't. The hardest part is staying. It's showing up again when yesterday's effort didn't pay off. It's standing in the same space, facing the same resistance, feeling the same doubts and still moving. That is where the invisible war is fought. That is where champions are made. The world doesn't reward comfort. It doesn't honor convenience. It only recognizes persistence, grit, and relentless action. You've seen people give up, promising themselves tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. You felt the sting of your own unfinished plans, the silent ache of dreams postponed. That pain isn't punishment. It's a signal. It's the pull that reminds you you're capable of more than you've been allowing yourself to believe. You can take the small steps that feel meaningless today, and in time, they become the pillars of everything you've ever wanted. It starts with one choice, repeated relentlessly, with your heart and mind in agreement. No one else needs to see it. No one else needs to approve it. It is your fight, your work, your life, and your results will be undeniable when you refuse to quit. Every day you delay, every time you rationalize inaction, I'll lose momentum that can never be recovered. It's invisible, but it is real. Time does not pause. Opportunity does not wait. You feel tired, unmotivated, unsure, and that is exactly the reason to push. Resistance is not your enemy. It's the universe testing if you're willing to endure, willing to persist when everything inside you screams to stop. The discomfort is temporary, but the reward is permanent. Every choice to continue strengthens you in ways you will only see years from now. And when it does show, it will feel effortless because the struggle will have prepared you for it. You are stronger than your excuses, smarter than your hesitation, more capable than the doubts that cloud your mind. Every moment you resist the easy path, every moment you force yourself to show up, you are rewriting your story. You are turning small, unseen actions into a life that commands respect, not from others, but from yourself. The people who never stop are not extraordinary. They are ordinary people who refuse to stop doing what mattered, day after day, long after the spark of excitement faded. That is the quiet force that moves mountains. That is the invisible engine that changes destinies. Do not wait for clarity. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the perfect conditions that will never exist. Action is the seed. Consistency is the water. Persistence is the sun. And the life you want, the one you've been craving, imagining, dreaming about, is the tree that grows when all three are present, without excuses, without shortcuts, without hesitation. Every day you hesitate, the world keeps moving. Every day you act, you gain leverage over time itself. Every choice compounds, every effort, no matter how small, shapes the person you are becoming, the opportunities you are creating, the future you are earning. There will be fatigue. There will be doubt. There will be moments. And it feels like giving up is easier than pushing forward. Those moments are the tests. They are the proving grounds where your resolve either crumbles or solidifies. The difference between someone who achieves and someone who doesn't is simple. One keeps moving. One refuses to let the weight of discomfort dictate the limits of what's possible. The path is never easy. It is always worth it. So take control of this moment. Force yourself to act. Do the work nobody sees. Commit to the grind when it's quiet, lonely, and hard. Keep showing up again and again with no fanfare, no applause, only the certainty that your efforts are building something far greater than a single day. And slowly, inevitably, the world bends to your persistence. Doors open you didn't see coming. Opportunities align perfectly, quietly, and powerfully, and you will look back, finally understanding that the struggle, the discipline, the stubborn insistence on showing up was everything. You were building a life that falls into place, not with noise, not with chaos, but with the silent, unstoppable force of your own consistency. Every step you take compounds. Every small decision you make echoes louder than you think. The moments that feel invisible are the ones that build the foundation of your life. Right now, you may feel like nothing is happening. The results aren't visible. The world seems indifferent. That's exactly the point. Growth is quiet. Success is silent at first. But every time you push through, every time you refuse to quit, the momentum stacks. It grows, unseen, unstoppable, until one day the weight of all your effort becomes undeniable. And when it does, the life you've been striving for doesn't just appear. It overwhelms you. It rewards you in ways you can't ignore, ways that prove all the struggle was necessary. You've been taught to chase feelings. You've been told to wait for more. Division, that's a trap. Motivation is fleeting. Excitement is temporary. They will vanish. You cannot depend on them. The only thing that matters is action, repeated action, discipline when the world tells you to stop, showing up when nobody is watching, doing the hard thing every day, even when it hurts, even when it seems pointless. That is what builds power. That is what creates momentum. That is what separates those who live ordinary lives from those who live extraordinary ones. Pain is a signal, not a punishment. Struggle is not a curse. It is the proving ground. The resistance you feel is the universe testing your commitment. It is measuring whether you are willing to do the work that matters, the work that transforms you from the inside out. You will feel exhausted. You will feel doubt. You will feel that every step is heavy. That heaviness is the weight of growth, the sign that you are leveling up, whether you can see it or not. Embrace it. Lean into it. Use it as fuel. Every time you push against it, you grow stronger, sharper, more capable. Consistency is the secret no one talks about. Not flashy, not glamorous, but it is unstoppable. It doesn't need recognition. It doesn't need applause. It thrives quietly, persistently, relentlessly. Every morning you rise and act. Every evening you finish what you started. Every single day you repeat the effort. These are the moments that change everything. One step repeated 1,000 times becomes a journey. One choice made over and over builds a character, a life, a destiny. And when the world finally notices, it is too late to deny the force you have become. Your past does not define you. Your fears do not control you. The only thing that defines you is what you do right now, in this moment, with everything you have. The small actions that feel meaningless today are the seeds of your future. Water them daily. Nurture them with effort. Protect them with stubborn refusal to quit. The days will feel long. The progress will feel slow. But each act is an investment. Each push is a deposit into a future you will eventually inhabit. And when it arrives, it will feel effortless because you built it quietly, consistently, without shortcuts, without excuses, without surrender. Do not underestimate the power of your persistence without surrender. It shapes your world in ways that are invisible to everyone else, but unavoidable for you. Doors will open you never expected. Opportunities will align as if the universe itself bends to the will of those who refuse to quit. And you will look back, finally seeing that the late nights, the early mornings, the repeated acts of stubborn dedication, they were not hard, they were necessary. They were the invisible work that created a life that cannot be shaken, cannot be denied, and cannot be taken away. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, not when the world finally notices now. Force yourself to act. Push past fatigue, ignore doubt, do the work, repeat. Persist, trust the quiet process, trust your power, and one day, without fanfare, without chaos, everything will align. Every piece will fall into place. A life you have been building silently, relentlessly, persistently will arrive, and it will be yours because you refuse to stop, because you refuse to give in, because you force yourself to be consistent when it mattered most. Every moment you hesitate, the world moves without you. Every second spent doubting, every breath wasted on excuses, is a moment you can never reclaim. You feel the weight of unfinished dreams pressing down on you. The quiet voice in your mind reminding you that time is passing, that life isn't waiting, that results will not arrive on their own. That voice is not your enemy. It is the alarm, the signal, the call, nil, to rise above complacency, to act now, to do what others refuse, to be relentless when the path is hardest, when no one is watching, when giving up seems easier than continuing. That is where transformation begins. You have spent too long chasing conditions that will never exist. Perfect clarity, perfect energy, perfect timing. None of it matters. What matters is the action you take when all of that is absent. When your mind screams stop, when your body protests, when the world seems indifferent. That is the exact moment you forge your strength. Because life does not reward intention. It rewards execution. And execution is born from consistency, persistence, and the stubborn refusal to surrender to doubt. Each step you take in defiance of your hesitation compounds. Each small victory, invisible though it may be, builds momentum. And momentum is unstoppable. Pain is not punishment. Struggle is not a setback. Resistance is proof that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are standing in the arena while others hide behind comfort. Every discomfort you endure, every moment you choose to show up despite fatigue is a deposit into your future self. These deposits accumulate silently, without recognition, without applause. And when the time comes, they explode into results so undeniable that you cannot deny your own power. That life, the one you've been silently constructing, arrives not through luck, not through ease, but through the relentless application of will. You have been waiting for signs, for signals, for permission. Stop waiting. The only sign you need is the one you create with your own hands. The only permission you need is the one you give yourself when you rise despite doubt, when you move despite fear, when you continue when the world offers comfort as a trap. You are stronger than your hesitation. You are smarter than your excuses. You are capable, though. More than you have allowed yourself to believe. Every time you force yourself to act, you claim a victory over inertia, over doubt, over the part of you that settles for mediocrity. That is how power is built. That is how momentum becomes unstoppable. The stakes are higher than you realize. Every day you postpone, every decision to wait, every time you let doubt control your actions, You are giving away the leverage you could have used to create your future. The cost of inaction is invisible, but it is real. Life does not forgive delay. Time does not pause. Opportunity does not linger for the undecided. The work you do now, in the quiet, when it feels thankless, when it feels invisible, is shaping everything that will come after. Ignore it at your peril. Commit to it with every ounce of your being, and you bend the world to your will. There will be fatigue. There will be doubt. There will be moments when you wonder why you even started. Those moments are the crucible. They are the test of resolve. They determine who rises and who remains lost in mediocrity. The difference is simple. One continues. One refuses to yield. One forces himself to act when all signs point to quitting. That is the line between those who dream and those who achieve. That is the invisible edge that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. So stand now in the fullness of your power. Force yourself to act. Push through every resistance, every hesitation, every whisper that tells you it's too hard. Do the work that nobody sees. Persist when it hurts, when it feels pointless, when it seems like the world doesn't care. Trust in the silent process. Trust in the momentum you are building with every repeated step. And one day, without announcement, without chaos, without spectacle, the life you've been constructing will emerge. It will arrive perfectly, quietly, powerfully. Everything will blend. Every effort, every struggle, every act of stubborn consistency will reveal that you were building a life that cannot be denied, cannot be shaken, and will never be taken from you. That is the unstoppable force of persistence. That is your destiny. Everything you've built so far is invisible, but it is real. Every choice you've made, every step you forced yourself to take, every day you showed up when it hurt, they are accumulating in ways you cannot yet see. That accumulation is silent, relentless, unstoppable, and soon it will demand to be noticed. The life you have been constructing in secret, the future you've been carving quietly, will emerge so powerfully that the world cannot ignore it. The doubt that has followed you, the fear that is whispered in your ears, the exhaustion that is pressed on your chest, they will all fall away in the face of what you've created. The truth is, no one else will push you as hard as you can push yourself. No one else will carry the weight of your ambition, your dreams, your destiny. That responsibility is yours alone. It is heavy. It is uncomfortable. It is sacred. Every day you resist the easy path. Every time you choose persistence over surrender. Every time you choose persistence over surrender, every moment you act while the rest of the world waits for motivation, you are claiming power that cannot be given, only taken. You are creating leverage over time, over opportunity, over yourself. That leverage compounds silently, but when it finally manifests, it changes everything. Do not mistake quiet progress for weakness. Do not let unseen results discourage you. The hardest battles are often fought in silence. The deepest victories are often invisible until they explode into undeniable force. The moments when you feel invisible, when your effort seems wasted, when your progress feels slow, those are the moments that define you. They test your resolve, sharpen your character, and measure whether you are willing to endure discomfort to achieve greatness. Comfort never built anything. Resistance always does. The struggle you face is a signal that you are on the right path. Lean into it, let it guide you, let it strengthen you. Every day is a decision. Every action repeated becomes a cornerstone. The person who achieves is not the one who waits for perfect conditions, who waits for clarity, who waits for life to feel easy. The person who achieves is the one who acts anyway, who shows up anyway. Who does the work when it is hardest? Every time you push past doubt, every time you defy fatigue, every time you refuse to quit, you are building momentum that cannot be stopped. The world bends slowly, reluctantly, to persistent action. It may not recognize your effort, yet it may never recognize it. But that does not matter. What matters is the force you are becoming, the life you are creating, the future you are earning. The stakes are higher than you think. Every moment of hesitation costs more than you realize. Every second spent doubting steals energy that could have been invested in action. Every choice to postpone, every excuse embraced, every comfort chosen over discipline is a debt you will pay with lost potential. You cannot afford to delay. You cannot afford to rationalize. You cannot afford to hope that someone else will carry you. The only way forward is to act, to persist, to force yourself to be consistent, even when the path is painful, lonely, and exhausting. That is the only way to guarantee progress. That is the only way to ensure results. That is the only way to claim your life. Do not underestimate what repetition does. One action repeated daily builds strength that cannot be taken. One choice made consistently creates a foundation that no circumstance can shake. One commitment maintained relentlessly for weeks, months, as the years becomes a force of nature. And when all of these forces converge, your life aligns in ways that feel like magic, but it is not magic. It is the result of persistence, of discipline, of stubborn refusal to surrender. It is the visible outcome of invisible work. And when it finally arrives, it will be quiet, yet undeniable. Stand in that knowledge. Stand in that knowledge now. Take control. Force yourself to act when it hurts. Show up when it is hard. Commit when it seems pointless. Every effort compounds. Every step matters. Every moment of resistance you overcome brings you closer to a life that cannot be denied. A life that falls into place quietly, powerfully, completely. The world may not notice at first, but your results will demand attention. Your future will recognize your effort. Your life will reward your persistence. And one day, looking back, you will understand that every silent battle, every quiet victory, every repeated action, that was everything. That was the force that built a life nothing could stop. Right now, everything feels heavy. The weight of unfinished goals, broken promises to yourself, the constant whisper that you could have done more, it presses on you. But that weight is not your enemy. It is the signal that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are standing at the edge of transformation. Every day you resist. Every moment you choose action over comfort. You are shaping a future that cannot be denied. You are building strength in ways that feel invisible today, but tomorrow, that strength will demand recognition. Every choice you make compounds. Every small victory stacks. Every second spent showing up is a step closer to the life you imagine. You have been waiting for clarity, for the right time, for conditions that will never exist. Stop waiting. Action does not wait for permission. Success does not depend on comfort. It comes from persistence, from showing up when the world feels indifferent, when your body and mind scream that it is too hard, when every excuse tries to pull you back into mediocrity. That is the battlefield where real power is forged. Every ounce of resistance you overcome, every moment you refuse to quit, strengthens you in ways that no shortcut, no sudden burst of inspiration could ever match. The hardest part is not starting. The hardest part is continuing. Every repeated choice to act, every day you push through when it seems pointless, builds momentum that cannot be stopped. It is silent, invisible, relentless. It does not need recognition. It does not need applause. It simply accumulates, layer by layer, until one day the results are undeniable. And when they arrive, they overwhelm. They are the natural consequence of stubborn consistency, of refusing to yield, of forcing yourself to show up when everything inside screams to stop. That is the quiet power that changes everything. Pain is not a sign that you are failing. Struggle is not proof that you are weak. Resistance is the measure of your potential. The more you fight, the stronger you become. Every moment of discomfort is an investment. Every ounce of effort you pour into what seems invisible today is a seed that will grow into results that cannot be ignored tomorrow. The world may not notice. Others may never see. That does not matter. What matters is the force you are becoming, the life you are constructing, the unstoppable momentum you are creating through relentless action. Do not underestimate the cost of hesitation. Every second you delay, every excuse you embrace, every time you allow doubt to control your actions, you pay a price you cannot reclaim. Time moves without mercy. Opportunity waits for no one. Every day you act, every time you persist, every choice you make in the face of resistance compounds into leverage. That leverage shapes your future. That leverage determines the life you will live. The work you do now, the effort you force yourself to make, is the only way to guarantee the results you crave. Consistency is the quiet weapon that breaks through chaos. It is not flashy. It is not dramatic. It is relentless. Each day you rise and act. Each time you choose persistence over comfort, each step you take when it hurts, builds power that cannot be stolen. That power accumulates, silently, steadily, until it erupts into a life that is undeniable, unstoppable, yours. You will look back one day and realize that nothing extraordinary happened overnight. It was the repetition, the discipline, the stubborn commitment to show up when it was hardest that created everything. Now is the moment to take control. Force yourself to act. Push through fatigue, push through doubt, push through every whisper that tells you to stop. The steps you take today are not small. They are monumental. They are the foundation of everything you desire. Persist when it is lonely. Persist when it feels thankless. Persist when it seems impossible, because every action you force yourself to take is a deposit into a future that cannot be shaken, cannot be denied, cannot be taken from you. Your life is waiting. Your power is waiting. The world bends to those who refuse to stop. Stand, act, and claim what is yours. Every choice you make now shapes a life that cannot be ignored. Every action you take, repeated in silence, compounds into a force that bends reality to your will. The path you are on is not easy. It is not supposed to be. Growth never is. The moments that feel the heaviest, the days when the world seems indifferent, the nights when doubt and fatigue weigh on your chest, those are the moments that define you. They separate those who dream from those who achieve. They separate those who fade into mediocrity from those who build lives of impact, power, and unshakable momentum. Do not wait for clarity. Do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for a sign from the world. The sign is in your own hands. The action is in your own control. Every step you take when it is hardest, every moment you persist when quitting feels easier, every small decision repeated with stubborn discipline is constructing a future that cannot fail. Each day you resist comfort. Each time you push past resistance, you are creating momentum that will carry you farther than you imagined. This is how empires are built. This is how destinies are forged. This is how ordinary people become unstoppable. The struggle is proof. The discomfort is proof. Every ounce of fatigue, every whisper of doubt, every temptation to quit is the measure of your potential. If it were easy, it would not matter. If it were painless, it would not transform you. But you are stronger than your hesitation. You are more capable than your excuses. Every moment you force yourself to act, even when it hurts, even when it seems pointless, you are earning the leverage that life rewards. The universe bows to persistence. Time yields to momentum. And what you build in silence over days, weeks, months becomes a life that cannot be denied. Do not underestimate the stakes. Every delay, every rationalization, every time you let comfort override discipline costs more than you realize. Every moment of hesitation steals from your future. Every day spent waiting is a day the world moves on without you. You cannot reclaim the time you lose. You cannot undo the opportunities you let slip by. That is why action now is not optional. It is urgent. It is critical. Every small effort you make compounds into results that will overwhelm you. Every repeated step builds power that cannot be stopped, builds power that will demand recognition, not because the world is watching, but because it cannot escape the force of your persistence. Consistency is the invisible weapon that separates those who achieve from those who falter. It is quiet, relentless, and unstoppable. Every day you show up when it hurts, when it is inconvenient, when it feels pointless, you are creating strength, leverage, and momentum. Every repetition, every act of stubborn dedication, every decision to continue despite discomfort builds a foundation no circumstance can shake. And when the results arrive, they will not whisper. They will not tiptoe. They will strike with undeniable force. You will look back and realize it was never luck, never timing, never perfection. It was your refusal to quit, your willingness to endure, your relentless commitment to consistency. This is your moment. Force yourself to rise, force yourself to act. Push through doubt, push through fatigue, push through fatigue, push through fatigue, push through every whisper that tells you to stop. Each action compounds, matters. Each day shapes the life that waits for you. Persist when it is lonely. Persist when it is lonely. Persist when it feels thankless. Persist when it seems impossible. Because every act of stubborn action, every moment of disciplined effort, every choice to continue when the world has given up is the force that constructs a life that cannot be denied. The world may not notice at first, but your results will demand attention. Your persistence will define your future. Your life will reward your consistency. And one day you will see that everything you endured, everything you pushed through, everything you forced yourself to do quietly, relentlessly, was building a life that falls perfectly, powerfully, and inevitably into place. Right now, the weight of your own potential presses on you. You feel it in the quiet moments when the world is still and your mind begins to whisper doubts you have tried to ignore. That pressure is not a curse. It is a signal. It is proof that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are standing on the edge of transformation. Every hesitation you overcome, every action you take when it feels impossible, every repeated step in the face of resistance is building momentum that will not be denied. This is how extraordinary lives are made, through quiet persistence that nobody sees until the results cannot be ignored. The hardest part is not starting. Anyone can begin. The hardest part is not starting. Anyone can begin. The hardest part is continuing, showing up when the spark of excitement has faded, moving when the comfort of giving up calls louder than your ambition, doing the work when the reward is invisible. That is where character is forged. That is where strength is measured. Every ounce of resistance you push through, every moment you endure discomfort, every second you force yourself to act against the tide of doubt is an investment in the future that will one day overwhelm you with its power. Do not whack eyes for motivation. Do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for a perfect alignment of circumstances. None of it will come. What will come is action. What will come is discipline. What will come is persistence when the world offers excuses and the easy path beckons. Each act of stubborn consistency is building force, quietly and relentlessly, until one day the accumulation becomes undeniable. And when that day arrives, you will look back and see that every struggle, every pain, every moment of resistance was not wasted. It was necessary. It was the engine that created unstoppable momentum. Every day you hesitate, you lose leverage. Every time you rationalize, you steal from your future. Every second you let comfort override discipline is a moment the world moves forward without you. Time does not pause. Opportunity does not wait. Your only option is to act. Your only way to claim your life is through relentless, repeated action, showing up when it is hardest, forcing yourself when nothing inside feels willing. That is how momentum is built. That is how dreams turn into reality. That is how ordinary effort becomes extraordinary outcome. Pain is not a setback. Resistance is not punishment. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. They are proof that you are alive, that you are growing, that you are cushioning boundaries that once seemed impossible. Every day you act when the world tells you to rest. Every time you persist when fatigue weighs on you. Every choice you make to continue, despite doubt, compounds into power that cannot be denied. This power will shape your life quietly at first, but eventually it will demand recognition. It will align circumstances, opportunities, and results in ways that feel unstoppable. Consistency is your weapon. It is silent. It is silent. It is invisible. It is relentless. Every day you show up when no one is watching. Every repeated action, every push past. Resistance is a deposit into a future that cannot fail. The life you are building will arrive without fanfare, without announcement, without chaos, but it will arrive with force. The doors you've been waiting for will open. The opportunities you have imagined will appear. The momentum you have created will carry you farther than you expected. And when it does, you will see that nothing extraordinary happened by chance. It was all the result of persistence, discipline, and the refusal to quit. Now is the moment to act. Force yourself to move when it hurts. Persist when it seems pointless. Commit when the world has already given up. Every choice you make now, every effort you push through, every repeated act of stubborn discipline is shaping a life that cannot be denied. It is quiet, relentless, unstoppable. The world may not notice at first, but the results will demand attention. Your future will recognize your effort. Your life will reward your consistency. And one day you will look back and understand that every silent battle, every unseen effort, every moment of forced action was building a life that falls perfectly, powerfully, and inevitably into place. That is the force of persistence. That is the destiny of those who refuse to quit. Every day you hesitate, you give the world a chance to pass you by. Every moment you doubt, every second you wait, every excuse you allow yourself to believe steals from your future. The life you imagine is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for action. It is waiting for you to rise when it is hardest, to move when it seems impossible, to persist when the world whispers that you should quit. That is where the battle is fought. That is where greatness is earned. Every ounce of effort you force yourself to make, every choice to continue when it hurts, compounds into a momentum that cannot be stopped. You have been trained to case stops. You have been trained to KSLE feelings. You have been taught to wait for motivation. That is a trap. Motivation fades, inspiration seared. Conditions are never perfect. What matters is persistence. What matters is consistency. What matters is showing up when the world is silent, when your body resists, when your mind screams to stop. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments that separate those who dream from those who achieve. Every repeated step, every act of stubborn dedication builds power, influence, and leverage that will transform your life quietly, invisibly, relentlessly. Do not mistake discomfort for failure. Do not confuse struggle with weakness. Every ounce of resistance is proof that you are alive, proof that you are capable, proof that you are pushing the boundaries of what you once believed possible. Fatigue, doubt, fear, they are tests. They are measures of your resolve. They are the moments that determine whether you will settle for mediocrity or rise to the life you deserve. Lean into them, fight through them, use them as fuel. Each time you persist despite pain, you forge a strength that cannot be taken, a momentum that cannot be stopped, a force that bends reality to your persistence. Consistency is the invisible engine of extraordinary lives. It is quiet, it is unseen. Every time you show up, every repeated action, every push past discomfort, every moment you do what others refuse, builds the foundation of a future that cannot fail. The world may not notice, others may never applaud. That does not matter. What matters is the force you are creating, the life you are constructing, the unstoppable momentum that will eventually arrive and demand recognition. The results will not whisper. They will not tiptoe. They will hit with undeniable power. And you will know that it was not luck, not timing, not chance. It was you. It was your persistence. It was your refusal to quit. The stakes are higher than you realize. Every delay, every rationalization, every moment you let comfort win costs more than you think. Every second you wait is a moment the world moves on without you. Time does not pause. Opportunity does not linger. Your only choice is to act. Your only path to greatness is to persist, to push, to force yourself to move when it is hardest. That is how momentum is built. That is how ordinary effort becomes extraordinary outcomes. That is how quiet persistence becomes unstoppable force. Now is the time to claim your life. Force yourself to act when it hurts. Persist when it seems pointless. Show up when the world has given up. Every repeated step compounds. Every moment of stubborn action counts. Every day you refuse to quit shapes the life you will live. Persist when it is lonely. Persist when it feels thankless. Persist when it seems impossible. Because every effort you make, every choice to continue, every act of discipline, consistency builds a life that will arrive quietly, powerfully, inevitably. The world may not notice at first, but the results will demand attention. Your persistence will define your future. Your life will reward your discipline. One day, looking back, you will understand that every silent battle, every unseen effort, every moment you forced yourself to act was everything. That was the force that created a life nothing could stop. That is your destiny. Everything you've built so far is invisible, but it is real. Every choice you have made, every moment you forced yourself to act, every day you showed up when it hurt, they are stacking layer by layer, building a force that cannot be denied. That force moves silently at first, almost imperceptibly, but it grows. It grows in power and momentum and inevitability, and one day it will arrive in your life with undeniable clarity and opening doors, creating opportunities, bending circumstances to match the persistence you refuse to abandon. The world may not see it at first, but you will feel it, you will know it. And when it finally arrives, it will overwhelm you with the truth that nothing you endured, nothing you persisted through was wasted. You have been waiting for permission. You have been waiting for clarity. You have been waiting for clarity. You have been waiting for clarity. Action is the only permission you need. Persistence is the only clarity that matters. Consistency is the only motivation that works. The world rewards execution, not ideas. It rewards action, not wishful thinking. Every time you choose to act despite fear, despite fatigue, despite doubt, you are creating leverage that will shape your future. Every step repeated when it feels pointless compounds into momentum that cannot be stopped, cannot be ignored, and cannot be undone. The struggle is not your enemy. Resistance is not a barrier to punish you. Pain is not proof that you are failing. They are the measure of your potential. Every time you feel discomfort, every time you feel the weight of resistance pressing down, it is a signal that you are growing. That is the moment your power is being forged. That is the moment when ordinary effort transforms into extraordinary results. Lean into it. Use it. Force yourself to move when it hurts. Persist when giving up feels easier. That is how the invisible becomes visible, how quiet effort becomes unstoppable force. The stakes are higher than you realize. Every second you hesitate, every excuse you make, every moment you allow doubt to win is a moment lost forever. Time moves without pause. Opportunity does not linger. Every moment you wait is a moment you cannot reclaim. That is why action now is not optional. Every ounce of effort you invest today compounds. Every act of persistence stacks. Every time you push past the pain, you are creating a life that is inevitable. The doors will open, the opportunities will align, the results will appear, not because of luck, not because of timing, because you refuse to stop. Consistency is your silent weapon. It is quiet, relentless, invisible, and unstoppable. Every day you rise, every time you act when no one is watching, every repeated choice to persist when it is uncomfortable builds power that cannot be taken. That power is invisible today, but tomorrow it will be undeniable. Every effort you make compounds into strength, momentum, and leverage. Every step, no matter how small, is constructing a life that bends reality. That life will arrive quietly, powerfully, inevitably. And when it does, you will look back and see that it was never luck, never timing, never coincidence. It was your persistence. It was your refusal to quit. It was your commitment to show up when it mattered most. Do not underestimate the force you are creating. It is shaping your future at this very moment. Every action counts. Every step matters. Every time you persist, when it is hard, when it is lonely, when it feels invisible, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. Do not pause. Do not wait. Do not second guess. Force yourself to rise. Force yourself to act. Persist when it hurts. Persist when it feels pointless. Persist when the world is giving up. Every choice, every action, every repeated effort is constructing a life that will arrive quietly, powerfully, and inevitably. Your persistence will demand recognition. Your discipline will create results. Your life will reward you in ways that feel unstoppable. And one day, looking back, you will understand that every silent battle, every unseen effort, every moment of stubborn action was everything. That was the force that built a life nothing could stop. That is your destiny. Everything you've done so far has been invisible, but it is real. Every step you've taken, every ounce of effort you've forced from yourself, every day you showed up when it hurt, they are stacking quietly, relentlessly, building a force you cannot yet see. That force is unstoppable. It grows in power with each choice you make. Each time you persist, despite discomfort, despite doubt, despite fatigue, you are creating momentum that will one day arrive in your life and demand recognition. The doors you've been waiting for will open to it. Opportunities you've imagined will appear. Circumstances will align to match the force of your consistency, and it will overwhelm you with its inevitability. You've been waiting for permission. You've been waiting for clarity. You've been waiting for motivation. Stop waiting. Action is the only permission you need. Persistence is the only clarity that matters. Consistency is the only motivation that works. The world rewards execution, not ideas. It rewards action, not wishful thinking. Every time you move forward, when your mind screams stop, when your body resists, when your circumstances tempt you to quit, you are creating leverage that shapes your future. Every repeated step compounds. Every small victory stacks. Every moment you choose persistence builds power that cannot be denied. Struggle is not your enemy. Discomfort is not proof that you are failing. Resistance is not punishment. They are proof of potential, indicators that you are alive and pushing beyond what once felt possible. Every ounce of fatigue, every whisper of doubt, every moment you feel the weight of life pressing down, these are the signals that your power is being forged. Lean into it. Fight through it. Use it as fuel. Every time you act when it hurts, every time you persist when giving up seems easier, you are constructing a force that bends reality. That force grows lightly at first, but eventually it cannot be ignored. It cannot be denied. It cannot be stopped. The stakes are higher than you think. Every second you hesitate, every excuse you embrace, every choice to allow comfort over discipline costs more than you realize. Time does not pause. Opportunity does not wait. Every moment you wait is a moment you cannot reclaim. That is why action now is not optional. It is urgent. Every choice you make, every step you take, every ounce of effort you force from yourself compounds into a life that will arrive with undeniable power. The doors will open. The opportunities will align. The results will appear, not because of luck, not because of timing, because you refuse to quit. Consistency is your invisible weapon. It is quiet, relentless, unstoppable. Every day you rise, every repeated action, every push past resistance, every moment you show up when no one is watching builds power that cannot be taken. That power is unseen today, but